Before we begin, I want to invite you into the Jubilee Haven Patreon community, a quiet space where we go deeper into healing, spiritual connection, and the quiet mysteries that guide us. If this podcast has touched you, your support here helps me keep creating these conversations. The link is patreon.com/deathismylife, and I will put the link in the show notes. Thank you.
This episode is brought to you by Havern Cabinetry and Design, a family business built on more than 50 years of master craftsmanship. Since 1972, owner Rick Havern has delivered immaculate, custom-built cabinetry and countertops for projects of every scale, from luxury homes to hotels, hospitals, and retail environments. Whether you're renovating a home or outfitting an entire building, their work will exceed your expectations. Learn more or request a quote at haverncabinetry.com. Link in the show notes.
Hello, this is Death is My Life podcast. I'm your host, Jolene, and tonight we're talking about the dark side of the winter solstice. Take 3. The winter solstice marks the longest night of the year, usually on December 21st. Rather than dwelling on the long, dark, cold nights, people of ancient civilizations celebrated that this day marked the turn back toward the light. Even though it's a slow creep, days do gradually begin to elongate following the winter solstice. The solstices are astronomically precise events in which the sun rises and sets at its most extreme points on the horizon. These points move ever so slightly each day, so the halfway point between the two solstices are the equinoxes, in which day and night are equal length. Ancient people would track this visually over years using landmarks, shadows, and horizon points. They did not have what we consider to be advanced technology. They used only observations, patience, and record keeping. Let's talk about a few examples of ancient architecture that still stand today, which were created with precise solstice markers integrated into their designs. One of them is Stonehenge, which is in England, and it's one of the most famous. It's an arrangement of massive stones that aligns with the summer solstice sunrise and winter solstice sunset. On the winter solstice, the sun sets directly between specific stones. The light travels down the central axis of the monument. I think it's mind-blowing that they were able to move each of these stones into place. Each one weighed 4 to 40 tons. And not to mention that they did it with such precision to mark an event that takes place for like a few minutes, a couple times a year. Another one is the Mayan pyramids in Mexico, in Chichen Itza, which I actually had the privilege of visiting many years ago. And what I remember about it was the stairs being terrifyingly steep with really tiny surfaces. So everyone had to walk up them like sideways so that we didn't fall backwards. And it just got me to think about this ancient civilization. Were they tiny? Did they have little feet? Did they climb up sideways like us? Were they scared of falling? Or were those stairs comfortable to them? But it was also just really an incredible experience to see what they built like by hand. And especially once I learned about what they do on the equinoxes. And during the equinox in the pyramids in Chichen Itza, they were built to align with the solar movement of the equinoxes and solstices. So during the equinox, a shadow forms the illusion of a serpent descending the pyramid. The Mayans used solar alignments to regulate agriculture, schedule ceremonies, and maintain cosmological order. The next one I'll discuss is Newgrange in Ireland, which is arguably the most complex solstice masterpiece from the ancient times. It predates Stonehenge, and it's methodically aligned. Oh, gosh. Methodically? I swear I know words. Newgrange is methodically aligned with the winter solstice sunrise so that for only a few minutes each year, sunlight travels down a long passage and illuminates the inner chamber, which is completely dark outside of those few minutes. This was intentional and extraordinarily precise. So, why did they do this? Across continents, cultures independently marked the same event. Solstice affected crop cycles, animal migration, human survival. Alignments provided reliable calendars, shared ritual timing, psychological reassurance that the sun would return even on the darkest of days. Humans have always searched for meaning in cycles. Darkness has always been temporary. Light returning was never taken for granted. Solstice monuments and rituals were ultimately about remembering hope. Why does it matter today? So, the increased darkness can be accompanied by feelings of fatigue, impaired thought process, and even depression. You've probably heard of seasonal affective disorder, the increased feelings of upset which manifest or are amplified during the dark seasons. The sun, which is limited during this time of year, provides us with warmth and vitamin D. Due to longer periods of darkness in each sun cycle, our bodies produce more melatonin, which is a naturally occurring hormone that stimulates sleep and restfulness. While this is helpful when we're trying to go to sleep, most of us are not ready to go to bed at the early hour of sunset during the winter time. Melatonin increases drowsiness and also impacts motivation and mood regulation. Serotonin is another naturally occurring hormone in the body, and it also is affected by the decreased sunlight. Serotonin is a happy hormone. It helps regulate mood stability, emotional resilience, and feelings of well being. If you noticed increased irritability, sensitivity, or emotional heaviness increases during this time of year, you're not alone. It's a chemical reaction in the brain that we're all naturally susceptible to. Our bodies regulate sleep-wake cycles through a system called the circadian rhythm, which is disrupted by the longer hours of darkness. Morning wake signals may become disrupted, causing us to have the urge to stay in bed later. Evening sleepiness may come on earlier and heavier. In our modern society, most people get off work around 5 p.m. when the sun is down or nearly down. This causes a mismatch between our biological regulators and societal schedules. This misalignment, in addition to the hormonal factor, can also contribute to the mood, energy, and concentration disruption. Historically, darkness signaled reduced food availability, increased danger, and a time for rest and conservation. Modern life resists this rhythm, creating tension between biological cues to slow down and cultural pressure to stay productive. That internal conflict alone can affect mood. How can we support our bodies and minds through the darkest days? Increase light exposure intentionally. Light itself is the signal, not just being awake. Morning light is the most important. Try to expose yourself to light within 30 to 60 minutes of waking. Open blinds and allow as much natural light into your home during the daylight hours as possible. Even on cloudy days, any outdoor light helps. Step outside into the sunlight, even if it's cold. Take a short walk or just bask in the glow of the sunlight. While we do not spend nearly as much time outside during the warmer season as we do during the warmer season, We have our homestead chores, winter sports, and even do a lot of driving, all which allow us to be exposed to the natural light. So I don't know too much about artificial light, but I do want to mention it in case anyone finds it useful. I would advise you to look into it more on your own. There are light therapy lamps, and just based on my research, I found that the most common is 10,000 lux UV free, large light surface area used in the morning for 20 to 30 minutes. This helps regulate melatonin and serotonin and supports circadian rhythms. Full spectrum indoor lighting, including brighter bulbs earlier in the day, and then switching to dimmer, warmer lighting at night. This isn't about tricking your body, it's about giving it the missing information. Infrared and sauna lights. So, sauna lights don't replace sunlight, but it does offer adjacent benefits. It supports circulation, promotes relaxation, and may improve mood through endorphin release and help release built up toxins through sweat, which we don't tend to do much of naturally during the winter compared to summer anyway. The heat acts as a nervous system support. It mimics the warmth of the sun when light is scarce, and it encourages the parasympathetic system, which is the rest and digest state. Think of heat as a comfort for the body when light is low. Allow seasonal rest without guilt. This is one of the most overlooked interventions. Winter is biologically slower. Forcing summer level productivity creates stress. Rest supports hormonal balance, emotional resilience, and immune function. Rest is not resignation, it's seasonal intelligence. You can also help protect the circadian rhythm by making small adjustments. Wake at a consistent time, even if it's still dark. Eat meals at regular intervals. Take walks after meals. Do not eat too close to bedtime. Dim lights after sunset and avoid bright screens late at night. Support your body with when to rise and when to release. Gentle movement and nature. Movement tells the brain we are alive and we are safe. Short outdoor walks, even in gray weather, stretching, yoga, or slow Tai Chi flow. Any kind of movement earlier in the day is most helpful, but it's beneficial anytime throughout the day as well. You don't need intensity, you just need the signal. So, rituals, winter rituals. Humans evolved to survive winter through comfort and connection. Some rituals that you can pick up on are warm drinks or soups, candle or other soft lights in the evenings, calming music or sound baths, or other familiar routines. If you are active on my Patreon, I just started a chat asking what everybody's favorite wintertime routines are. Remember, these aren't indulgences, they're regulation tools. And one other thing we have to think about is how we talk to ourselves. Okay, our emotional permission and language shift. If you think I'm unmotivated, reframe it with my body is conserving. If you think I should be happier, reframe it with the season is quieter. Reframe the winter as a holding time, not a failing. I will leave you now with a closing thought from the brilliant Victor Hugo, whose gift with words is more than I could ever aspire to. Even the darkest night will end and the sun will rise.
Before you go, if you'd like more episodes, behind the scene updates, and a growing library of comforting resources,
come join me at patreon.com/deathismylife. Your support helps this podcast grow and reach more hearts. And if this episode resonated with you, please share the podcast with someone who might find comfort in it too. I'm excited to see you there.